Game 3, NBA Finals. I'm excited. Warriors Celtics, 1 game apiece. Hard to predict what's going to happen since both games have been they've been similar in some ways. The third quarter belongs to the Warriors, and in Game 1, the Celtics got red hot in the fourth, and in Game 2, they didn't, and they withered. And so both games seem like they were really far apart from each other, big margins, and yet some things played out similarly with a couple of adjustments that we'll get into. I want to make a pick for Game 3. I want to make this video short and sweet so you guys know exactly what to do. Maybe some extra stuff that I'm not putting on my bet ticket, but that you can look for that I think might cash, and maybe we'll play with it on live lines as we go forward. But let's dive right into the action. I want to look at the odds. By the way, we're up 49.6 units on the year. We've gotten past 50 and bumped back down a couple different times. It seems like a cursed number. But we got to get past 50, and we got to stay there. We got to push towards 60. I've had enough of this. So we're working on it. We got 1 unit on the line for this game, and I'm going to tell you right off the top, it is the Warriors plus 3.5. I'm not making you wait. We're going through everything quick. I like the Warriors, and I'm going to tell you why. Let's look into the lines. You can get the Warriors at plus 128 on the money line. But I have this weird, most of the time I would say just take the odds. Instead of laying minus 114, which I did decide to do, I do think it's probably worth taking the points, only because both games have been blowouts. Usually, I mean, we got to be due for a close game late, right? And this plus 128 relative to 3.5 points feels, I don't know, I'm feeling safe. I don't hate it if you take plus 128. Odds-wise, long-term, I think that's probably the play, but something in me is telling me to take the points here on a late, close game. I don't know why that is, but it is. So that's what I'm going with, and I'll tell you why. We look back at the box scores here. First game, Draymond even said it after the game, right? And I said it too on Twitter, like, well, how often is Al Horford going to hit every single shot? I like Al Horford. I thought about sprinkling him for MVP, and I still think it's decent, but I do think they figured out something with him. And then Brown scored a ton in in the early fourth quarter to bring them all the way back. But the big one, Derek White, 5 for 8 from 3. Pritchard played really well. Smart shot really, really well. Now, Tatum played badly, so you can make the argument that that might go the other way. But Draymond said it. He was like, how often are these guys going to shoot like this in the fourth quarter and bring us back? And then you saw it in the next game. Like, it just didn't happen. And either way, the thing that I like, you're not often are you going to get the 40-16 fourth quarter, okay? But the Warriors consistently for years now have dominated third quarters. And between these two series, 38-14, oh, this is the same game. Game 2 was, let's get it. We're looking at Sunday, Game 2. And it was 35-14, so they're up 21 in the third quarter, and then 14, so they're up 35 points between 2 third quarters. That is a lot, and there isn't a lot of variance to be had here because this is what the Warriors have done for years. Regular season, playoff, they make adjustments, they dominate third quarters. The other thing you can point to is that I don't know what the refs are going to do. Draymond obviously played super aggressive and different in Game 2 and didn't get called for an extra tech. He could have been thrown out of that game maybe, or he could have at least been in bigger foul trouble. He had 3 fouls. If he's playing with 5, it becomes different. But let's not act like Draymond Green can't turn up his defensive intensity without the technical fouls. He has a level to go to defensively that's going to bother Boston, and it looked like in Game 1, in the fourth quarter, the intensity just wasn't there from Golden State. 16 points and giving up 40. I said it in the video we did before the series started. Everyone's talking about how Boston is this unbelievable defensive team, and they are very good, but they're leaving out the fact that Golden State can be really good on defense. And the thing that I really liked, Gary Payton gave them 25 minutes off the bench, and he looked great. I didn't know if he would be healthy. He's only going to get healthier. There's a lot of rest between these games, and it's an arm issue. He's not expected to shoot a lot, so he should be in decent shape, and he can defend really well. So you're looking at lineups that you can put out here. Now, Steph and Clay and Poole, I get it. I do get it. It's a challenge. But you have Looney, Wiggins, Porter, Payton, and Green. Those are really, really good defenders. So if you get Boston in a situation where it's hard for them to score, I don't love their chances. I know that sounds really obvious, but I think they're going to bother the ball. They're going to pressure the ball hard, and nobody is better than that as Payton. So if you have Payton, Wiggins, and Green out there, and then you choose between Curry, Thompson, and Poole, 2 of the 3, or sometimes you'll have Porter out there for one of those 2, and you have 4 good defenders, this Boston team does not handle the ball well. And Smart is nursing an injury. Maybe he comes back, has an unbelievable game at home. It's possible, but he looks hobbled out there to me. And when he is your best ball handler, we know Brown doesn't handle the ball particularly well. So I'm not comfortable with that. They looked like they bothered Tatum. He made a lot of shots in game 2, no doubt. He hit a lot of threes, but 18 of his 28 points came on 3-pointers. I don't know if that's, you want it if you're Boston, obviously, but I don't know if that's all that you want. I think you want him attacking in the rim and being able to operate as a facilitator a little bit. When he was assisting in game 1, it actually looked really good, 13 assists. He didn't score as much. You need that to kind of balance out a little bit. He's not going to go 3 for 17. But you don't want all of his dominance to come from behind the arc, because that's wasting a lot of his talent, in my opinion. And then you look at Rob Williams, who is just really injured. I don't even think there's a world where he gets played off the court. I don't think you can deal with 70% Rob Williams because he's going to get outplayed. He's even getting outplayed by Looney. And then when you go small and drag him out, it's even worse. So I don't know if he's going to start, I guess, but there's a world where he doesn't really come back much. I mean, he only played 14 minutes in game 2, and I think they just have to see what's in front of them. I don't know if he's going to get better magically. You could say the same thing about Smart. I'm worried about their health, for sure, and I like Golden State's health and intensity turning up a notch. Now, you're getting Boston at home. Home crowd's going to be rabid, no doubt about that. But they've come out strong in first quarters already and then had that gap closed. So, I don't know. I mean, I just see so many, same thing coming into the series. I see so many more downsides, and there have been, I'm not going to say there have been 7 quarters where the Warriors clearly looked like the better team. That's really a little bit of hyperbole. But mostly, it was just that 4th quarter in the first game that Boston absolutely dominated and stole that game. And so, I really do think we're looking at a team that is just better than the other. I think Golden State is playing it better. And by the way, I mentioned all these defensive players for Golden State. Steph Curry's defense has been awesome. He has been really, not awesome for Steph Curry. It's been awesome in general. His effort level, super high. He's making up for Klay Thompson's level not exactly being there. But by the way, I am still expecting a Klay Thompson good game coming here, because people are so quick to write him off. It's so trendy, and we forget so quickly. In this closeout game against Dallas, he dominated. 32 points, 8 for 16 from 3. He's going to have a game in these finals. He had the closeout game against Memphis. He had 30, 8 for 14 from 3. You could rag on his foot speed, his health, his defensive ability compared to what it used to be, whatever you want to do. But he's going to have a game eventually where the threes start to go down. And that is something you can't possibly deal with. The way Steph is playing, if Klay is also playing like that, and Poole has been playing pretty well, and he's going to get more confident as the series goes on, I think, even on the road, I'd be worried about that. So now you're talking about a lineup that could have Steph, Klay, Dre, Wiggins, and Payton, and you really don't have anyone to pick on. And that's the thing that you love about Boston, right? That's the thing everybody talks about with Boston. There's nobody to pick on. They're going to switch everything. They're going to be able to handle the perimeter and the interior. Well, now all of a sudden, if Golden State can do that too, if Payton is really up to the task, which I think he is, then the offenses here don't compare at all. So what are we even talking about? And I'm psyched to get them at plus 3.5. I heard someone say this is the first time they're plus at least 3.5 in this playoff run, and maybe even longer than that. I can't confirm if that's true, but it is pretty rare you're going to get Golden State at plus 3.5. So I just like those odds. I think Kerr is the better coach. I don't know if Udoka has as many cards to play. I don't like the way their bench has looked. Grant Williams, I think, had a really good series, and people are a little too high on him. I like him as a player. I just don't think he matches up super well in this. What are you going to do? Just have him match annoyances with Draymond Green? Draymond Green's going to play better when it comes to that. Tice, It just hasn't really been there when he's on the court. Rob Williams is necessary if you want the big, but considering his injury, I don't know who they turn to. Derek White has played really well, to his credit. In Game 2, he didn't shoot it well, but he's still playing a really important role, playing a lot of minutes and getting a lot of shots. Now, is that good? Do you want that if you're Boston? It seems necessary. Same thing with Pritchard. You're actually needing them to create quite a bit. Whereas when you look down, it's much, much easier to see the guys on Golden State off the bench playing a really big, important role. Even Bjelica has been very good. So I'm just feeling like the odds haven't caught up to how lopsided this series could have been. I mean, what if Boston didn't win Game 1 and didn't have this fourth quarter barrage? They win a fourth quarter by 24, only win the game by 12. What if they lose the game by 10? What are these odds like? And is that just variance of a bunch of shots went in? What are you going to do? And did it wake up a sleeping giant in the Warriors defense, which looked a lot better, held them to 37% from the field in Game 2 and shot fine, but no one on Golden State had an unbelievable game. Poole 5 for 9 is good, but 17 points, that's kind of what he does. Otto Porter's been good, but he's just a defensive player that can spot up occasionally. It's not like he ripped all of his threes. Wiggins 4 for 12. He hasn't had a great game yet. He looked better in the series before. Draymond is doing Draymond things. You know, what are you going to do? If he gets thrown out of a game, then we're going to lose the bet. I understand. But no one has had this like astronomical, ridiculous thing. Even Curry in Game 1 had that first quarter and he played great, but that could have been a 50-point game. It ended up at 34. So I guess you can't really say the same thing about Boston because they already had their game where their role players dominated. Now, role players play better at home, probably. That's fine. But I'm just expecting a higher ceiling available to the Warriors, and the adjustments that have already been made are going to come through in a really, really big way. So I do like the Warriors. Let's look at a couple of props that I'm into also. I'm out on Rob Williams because of the injury thing and because I think he might get played off the floor. So you can get him at under 5.5 points plus 112. It's a low number, but I think that's worth it. It's not on my card. Like I said, we only have the one unit on Warriors plus 3.5, trying to get back above that 50 plateau. But I do think the under on Rob Williams is decent. I do think there's a Derek White over 11.5 points that makes some sense too, because of the usage that he's been getting and the shots that he's been putting up. So I kind of like that. Harder to predict what's going to happen on the Warriors because they're much deeper. If I could bet minutes for Gary Payton, I'd probably like that. Where's rebounds for Williams? Yeah, under 5.5. I like that too. I just don't think he's going to play enough to have a huge impact. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the knee looks better. I'm not going to bet against Marcus Smart, but only because I think he'll have a game eventually where he fills up the sheet, has one of those triple-double games, and I don't know when that's going to be. Same thing with Clay. I'm staying away from the bets. I know that game is coming, but I can't tell why and when. I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason to it. It's so based around health and feel and all that kind of stuff, so I'm going to stay away from it, but I am expecting the Klay Thompson barrage to happen eventually. Assists, this one is a little bit tough. I do think Tatum over 5.5 may be worth a play because they must have realized that in Game 2 he needs to be more of a facilitator. The way the Warriors are playing them defensively, he's going to have to go back to that. He had 13 assists in Game 1, and getting plus odds on over 5.5, not that bad. So I kind of like that. Player defense, can we get steals for... No, they don't have Gary Payton up here on FanDuel, but if you can find that, not the end of the world. Any Gary Payton props in general, honestly, might be kind of nice. Don't think he's listed here. But if you can get him at some point, I think he's going to play major minutes. I think they unlocked something there. They didn't play him at all in Game 1, as far as I remember. No, he didn't get in. And then all of a sudden, 30 minutes in Game 2, roughly 25 minutes. I could see that going up to 30 tonight. That will take minutes away from somebody else, by the way. So if you like a Warriors prop on, I don't know, either Clay or Poole under or something like that, even Otto Porter points under, do they have that? Yeah, 5.5. I mean, something like that. He could hit those random kick out threes, I guess. It's dicey. The only reason I say this is if you can't get the Peyton props, he's going to take minutes away from somebody. I don't know who it's going to be. And you're not going to see all this garbage time minutes that happened in the fourth quarter of this game. So this box score is a little misleading with the Bjelica, Kuminga, Toscano, Anderson, Damian Lee minutes and stuff like that, even Moody. But Yeah, I'm feeling some of those props. So, beware. Do whatever you got to do. If you look at the series, it is currently minus 110 apiece, which I find pretty wild. I think the Warriors have looked like the better team. If I didn't already have 4 units on the Warriors to win the series, I would be dumping at least one more in on the Warriors, so I recommend it, even if it's not part of our official play. I think these odds are skewed. Now, if you were ever going to lose one, it's probably going to be Game 3 in Boston. But I am really confident in the Warriors, and even if Boston does win, unless I see something wild that has changed, I'm probably going to jump back in on the Warriors as underdogs going into Game 4. So, yeah, I'm all over the Warriors. I just think there's been a pretty big difference in how these teams have operated, and the ball handling of the Celtics plus the increased intensity and pressure of the Warriors really equals an effort from them defensively that I think will match what Boston has been giving defensively, and their offense will carry them home. So that's kind of where I'm at. Warriors plus 3.5, 1 unit. We're looking to push above plus 50 on the year. We're getting there. It's been a good year. No complaints. We've had a couple of losing streaks mixed in there. Everybody does, but it hasn't been so bad. Follow at MikeTheMush Sports on Twitter and Instagram for all updated picks when we're not on the video. There's plenty of other stuff, baseball picks, hockey picks. We're all over the map, but the NBA Finals demand a video for you guys. So subscribe, like, if you want more breakdowns on these picks. Sometimes you get them on the Twitter, but they're shorter. You get more meat on the bone when you come here. So share the YouTube. It helps. Leave a comment. It helps the algorithm. I appreciate you. Good luck on the games. On Friday, if you're watching this before Game 3, or whenever you're watching it, we're going to do another Mushing the NBA draft segment. We're going to break down some of the guards that could go in the top 10. So it seems like you guys liked the first one with the top 3 prospects. Go back and watch that if you're looking into the draft. More to come as the finals wrap up, but we're always looking for more series to start on the YouTube. So check it out. Share it. Tell your mom. Tell your friends. Share it with your dog. They like it. They're big on the NBA. We know they watch. They love the colors. It's all good. We'll see you on the other side. Good luck. Go Warriors. Peace out.